How about we start with the injury report for you? Jay is good to go.
Should be.
Should be good to go. How about Emma Yanko?
Still day to day.
Still day to day. And Mackenzie Reverend, is she a day to day or?
No, she's a little further away, but we're hoping a couple weeks.
Okay. The curiosity as I've looked at your lineup, Sandlin's lineup, everyone's lineup is, and maybe the injuries are forcing your hand, but having that extra skater. Can you kind of give me your philosophy of whether to play a forward or a defenseman? I think you've exclusively done extra forwards.
Yep.
Is that because of the way injuries and everything have played out, or is that what you prefer to use rather than maybe an extra defenseman?
No, it's more based on our lineup. We have more forwards than we have D right now.
Yeah. Preferably, would you like to use an extra D in that situation? Like if you had Jay and you had Mackenzie healthy, ideally would you like to use a D, or is it just...
Probably, overall, I think it would make more sense for D. Just because the rotations are a little different from D to forward. You have 4 lines up front, so to work in a 13th forward is difficult if everybody's healthy. If there's an injury, it's a great option to have. And when we're able to play 4 lines now, that's more feasible. Sometimes we play 3, so it really depends. But it's purely based on our lineup right now.
St. Cloud this week, Battle of Olympic Goaltenders.
Yes.
What do you expect? How do you attack I suppose you guys get to see an Olympic goalie in practice every week.
Yep.
Does that offer you any insight into how to attack St. Cloud State?
I think we're really fortunate to have great goaltending here with Maddie and with Emma, who's used to playing on an Olympic sheet. So we have those guys to rely on for some inside tips. But otherwise, we don't place too much of an emphasis on the sheet. I think it is different, we know that, but inside the dots, it's all the same. And we're going to stick to our game plan.
St. Cloud State's goalie, what's always stood out to you about her?
Well, they have a couple, right? Paluzny just got called up to the 4 Nations roster for the
U.S.
U.S.
Too?
Yep.
Okay.
So she's had a great summer, and she's a serious competitor as well as Alder. So they have really good goaltending. We have really good goaltending, so that kind of X's each other out in that regard. And I think if you look at their forwards, especially those top 2 lines, they have some skilled players that have had successful careers in the WCHA so far. So I think it should be a good matchup. Anytime you're playing a WCHA opponent, it's going to be a grind. You can't take anything for granted. If you get too caught up in who's beat who and this and that, I think you forget that anybody can beat anybody.
A lot of confidence going into this weekend in St. Cloud, though, based on what the offense did a week ago against Bemidji, which is usually one of the stingiest defensive teams in the league. Yeah,
putting 8 up on Bemidji is very difficult to do, and I think it was nice to see the Rogie Bell Brat line get in on the action, and I think that just gives us more depth because the other line's been going. The more people we have putting the puck in the net, the better off we'll be. So, yep, we're flying high right now.
Your captain, Sid Brat, being named to the national team, what's that mean for you as someone who not only has coached her here, but saw her come up through the U18s? It's kind of your goal there as the U18s is to provide the future national team players.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And Sid had a really good summer. She always puts the work in on and off the ice. She's such a great leader by example that way. And, I was in Lake Placid when she was in Lake Placid trying out for that team. And I told her, even at this level, your speed stands out. And that's a really big deal. We talk about how she's probably one of the best skaters in all of NCAA hockey. And that's a huge asset. But the complementary pieces that she's putting together now, too, in her game are pushing her and making people take notice. And it's great for her career to make the big roster.
Complementary pieces, what do you mean specifically? What's helping her?
So she skates like the wind, so to get her hands caught up with that and her head caught up with that's been what she's been working on over the years, and I think you're seeing more of that. I know we are. I think she's got some great intangibles, but her skills have come a long way, and I think the way she's able to complement a lot of different players that she plays with, whether she's on the national team or here, is really valuable to any coaching staff.
getting Emily Rogie on track, like she said, the pressure was on herself. But it's interesting with goal scorers because a lot of people coming down on that, it was basically a 2-on-3, and she shoots and it goes in. And a lot of goal scorers or non-goal scorers would have hit the pad, but it's just neat to find things getting into sync for her because she seemed to be really in sync this last weekend.
Yeah, she exploded this weekend, really, to put up 4 goals, scoring all different ways, like you mentioned. That 5-hole goal, I think, is the one you're talking about. To score across the grain later that game. A gritty, tough goal at the end of the game on Friday night, and then a 4th earlier in the game. I think, she needed that. We needed that. We knew it was coming, and that's what she's capable of. She is a pure hockey player. She wants the puck on her stick. She likes to put the puck in the back of the net, so we're fortunate to have her.
I asked her about that one shot. She said she was actually aiming for the far pad.
Yeah.
That she saw Sydney coming down the other side and that she'd get a rebound.
Yep.
Oh, darn, it went in.
Right. Lucky.
I said, that's what goal scorers
Yeah,
do.
once you're in that rhythm, good things happen.
The young defense, especially Lizzie, how good were they Saturday with having Jalen not in the lineup?
I thought they were fantastic. Lizzie in particular started off that game. The first half of the game was some of the best hockey I had seen her play all season long. And, we talk a lot about the minutes that they play, but it's substantial. And to see her get the Defensive Player of the Week award this week and be in on a lot of the offense, whether she's making the play or on the ice when it's happening, I think has been incredibly important to our success this season.
Tough road stretch coming up with SSU and then the Whitecaps and then on the road. What's kind of the message to the team as you kind of gear up for this kind of series of tough games?
Yeah, I think, we have St. Cloud this weekend, then we have the Whitecaps at home, then we're off, and then we have Ohio State and Clarkson. So without getting too far ahead of ourselves, we just focus on what's right in front of us. With a young team, I think they're going to be excited to hit the road. It's always fun to hop on the bus and stay in the hotels and play in front of different crowds. I think that's fun. And with Ohio State and Clarkson coming up, those will be flights, and it's just a different deal. But it's exciting too because we haven't done that before this year. So it'll be good. We'll play our brand of hockey here or away.
This is by design, right? Kind of after St. Cloud here, the 2 weeks off for Four Nations.
Right, so Four Nations weekend is off, and we actually just had the benefit of the WCHA schedule to have the weekend before that off, and so we scheduled the Whitecaps for that time.
Because Sid said she leaves, I think, Friday. When does Emma leave?
Yeah, I believe the 2nd, and Emma might be the 3rd.
Oh, okay.
Still finalizing plans. Yeah.
I know the space between the dots is the same distance, but it's a big sheet. You've got a lot of speed on this team. Do you foresee your team being able to use that big sheet to your advantage this weekend?
Yeah, we always talk about how speed kills. I think that was a huge part of our game last weekend against Bemidji, and where we're able to attack Bemidji, it's similar to where we're able to attack St. Cloud. So those things kind of lined up nicely for us, and we can hit the same themes and messaging from last week going into this week. So hopefully we'll be that much better at it.